Test, 1, 2. Yeah, it's
Nice.
going. and start then. Welcome to Tech for Life. I'm silencing my phone here. Should have done that earlier. If you'll silence yours too, like I said, if you're a doctor, you can leave it on vibrate, I suppose, but I also have some questions for you. It'll be my new best friend, right? Sorry about the inconvenience about the walkway, but they're putting a roof over there so that when we're coming in, you don't have to stand in the rain for the food basket or whatever, bread of life, whatever you're doing too. So it'll be nice because I've been rained on several times just pulling things out of here all the time. So we good? All right. I hope you guys have had a good week, that you've had a chance to put some of the stuff we've been talking about to use and practice it maybe come up with some questions. What we'll do quickly is just remind you of who we are and what we're doing. My name is Stefan. I lead Tech for Life. My wife Jen is back there in the left, waving back there. Yep. James is to the right behind all the monitors running our live stream for us. Christian, my son, is sometimes here. He's here tonight. He'll help you. All these people will be glad to help you with stuff, especially Stacy and Debbie with questions. Debbie's going to collect questions, so if you have a question, hand it to her. Or I'll show you another way that you can do it if you feel comfortable enough doing it. We can lighten some of that load. But yeah, Debbie, wave your hand there, yeah, and Stacy, yeah. You don't have your panda ears on tonight, huh? So before we'll have a couple announcements, and then I'll tell you when to log in. And I'm just going to teach you a little bit about that parking lot thing, okay? So I'm going to show you what it will look like. You can, if you want to, once you're online, I'll show you, and we'll test it out real quick, and then we'll go into our lesson, okay? So let's talk about our main information site is our website, Tech for Life, first of all, right? You get emails from either Westpark or Tech for Life. Eventually, you'll want all your stuff from Westpark because you can do all the check-ins, check the classes, answer RSVP, how many guests you might want to bring, stuff like that. But that's what that RSVP button is at the very end if you get them from Westpark. Remember that next month, March, we're not meeting for Tech Help Saturday on the 5th. We're meeting the second week, the 12th, because it's a special mission week. So they're busy on campus already. So it's one of the 3 Tech Help Saturdays that we do on the second Saturday. Let's go ahead and this is not what I wanted, but I'm going to see how it works. We're going to open with prayer and a little encouragement, and we're going to see how it goes here. A little encouragement here. Why we serve. Knowing Jesus and following Him can be 2 separate things. And the main thing you'll want to know is that God sent Jesus for a very specific reason. And if this is something that, if you know Him already and you're following Him, you've accepted His free gift, and you need a way to talk to others about it, the best thing to remind them of is that it's appointed once for a person to die and then face judgment. And that's the whole thing about why God sent Jesus in the first place. He sent Him to pay for our sins. The 10 Commandments that they gave us were to show us as a mirror that we didn't live up to those things. There's no way to live up to them. It's impossible to. But it's not meant to discourage you that you can't. It's to show you that there's a difference between what's right and holy, what's perfect, and what we are by nature. Is we don't measure up. And so God sent Jesus to help pay the fines of those sins, those transgressions against the law, against God. So the whole thing to explain to people is to make sure they understand it doesn't matter what you do or who you are. It's all in what Jesus did and who he is. Does that make sense? So when we get up to judgment and they say, why should we let you into heaven? And this isn't in the Bible, but just play along with me here. And God is judging you, and he says, why should I let you into heaven? And you go, well, I did this for you, or I did that for you, or I followed the commandments since I was little, right? The only thing that can save you is Jesus, when he pays the fine for you. Does that make sense? A judge can dismiss the case. So people don't realize Jesus has already paid that fine. They're free because he's already done that. Past, present, and future sense. Right? You get into court, you're like, I didn't know I was coming to court. Doesn't matter. You're still going to be held to the same standard. He says, but you know what? You're guilty. And of all these things that you're guilty of, the penalty is you've earned death because of it. He says, but somebody paid your fine already. He says, what are you talking about? Jesus paid your fine already. He says, he's mine. She's mine. Right? I'd like to do this. And the court judge can dismiss the case at that point. Right? All taken care of, dismissed. He can dismiss those charges against you. It's still going to be a legal case about that. That's why it's so important to realize where we are, realize that we don't stand up to it, the mirror of the Ten Commandments, right? That's just 10 of them, too. There's more. Jesus said, instead of thou shalt not murder, he says, that you shouldn't hate somebody. That's the beginning of it. You're already turning in your heart to hate, to murder. So, as we look at it ourselves, it's nothing that we do. It's everything that he's done. It's not who we are, but who he is. And because he makes us his sons and daughters that way, by accepting that free gift, even that gift of faith is not really left up to us. If you know his name, he's given you an opportunity to accept it. Right? Even if you've never met anybody, you can look outside and know that somebody put this place together in order, right? It all works. So you can see his handiworks and know that somebody else is in charge. So part of why we serve and do things is not to earn our way to heaven, right? It's not to get there. It's out of gratefulness of what he did for me. Because I could never have paid it. I would have had to pay in blood to cover up my sins. Past, present, future, right? So I'm grateful for his gifts and his mercy and his grace. And that's what I want to learn to live by, is learn to live humbly the same way he does. And every second is a new chance to do the right thing for him. So as long as I remember that, and there's a song that I love that I heard it this last week about that. Not because of who I am, but because of what you did, right? Same verse that just rang in my ears about that. But in Ephesians 2, 8 and 9, it reminds me all the time. For it's by grace you've been saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing, it's the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one can boast. And I'm not the world's policeman either, right? I'm not here to tell everybody they're going to hell. We're all in the same boat is the problem. So the thing I remember to humble myself, to be gentle and respectful when sharing that. But it's a message of hope, and I need to be ready to give it at any notice, right? So part of those things I started studying. It's like, if I only had 30 seconds to say to somebody, what would I say? If I had a minute to say something to somebody, what would I say? Or if I had 3 minutes to say, what would I say, right? And until I started thinking about that, I didn't have the words. So the Bible tells us to be ready to do that. But this is why we serve. It's why we do this ministry like this. It's why we serve in other capacities at the church or even out in our community. It's just so that people can get to know God through us, hopefully. That they'll see him working in us. So Let's go ahead and open with prayer and see that God will bless us tonight with that. Holy Father, I thank you for today and for this food that we had, for providing it and for providing everything we need during the day. I just ask for your blessing on this class tonight, that you'd calm our spirits, you'd give us quiet minds to receive knowledge, and that we'd use it with wisdom. That would be something we'd remember and retain and build on, and that we could use it for good and encouraging others. I thank you for the opportunity to do this and just ask you to bless this. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So, thank you for following along with that. Let's learn something now. Let's go to, let's see here. Let's log in. Remember our Control, Alt, and our Delete, the three keys. Press and hold Control, tap and hold Alt, and then tap Delete, and it'll bring up our login. If you're not already there, you're already in, all right. If you ever get an Adobe message like that, just hit the X in the upper right-hand corner. It'll be out of your way. So yeah. You're in already? Oh, because you're already in, that's why. So just hit the escape if you do that. Yeah, you're doing great. Because yours is different than theirs, right? Because it's your personal one. This one is a work login type thing. And because they're all tied to the church, that's why. There you go. It's worked. It's just slow. It'll work. Now, see how it says Adult Ed already? And I wanted to get a screenshot of this so that I could show people on here what it's supposed to look like, because this is an old screen that I have on that one. There we go. We'll just do it like that. Do it a little closer. Okay. So in this place, you put in the password, which is this right here. Can you see it? Guest @8833. All right. And you're in already, right? So we're good. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I did that already.
Good.
It's just a saver, I guess.
Let's see here. Let's see, is this right? Okay, well, let's see what we can learn about this. We're going to work on searching the web. So I'm going to bring this up and bring it here. There we go. Let's do F11 there if we can. Or not, we'll do this. Wait a minute. Huh. Oh, funny. If you could see my screen right now, you know why I was laughing, so, okay. Oh, there it is. Zoom, huh? There we go. So we're going to talk about searching the web and help my eyes here. There we go. There's the big thing. Okay. So we talked a little bit about sharing questions, right? Now, if you come up with a question, I understand you have it right then. Sometimes it messes up the flow when we teach, but we don't want to leave them behind. It may be answered later on, and then you can scratch it out. But if you want to, you can add it in electronically to the parking lot, okay? Or you can write it on the paper, and they'll put it in the parking lot, which means you'll follow this procedure too, right? Yeah, everybody will if they can. If they can't, they'll give you paper, and you'll get to do it. So I'm going to show you a little thing across the top here. On the presentation, it'll have a web address at the top. And if you open up a browser, like we talked about last week, right, the little program or the app we're going to use to look at the internet and put that address in, you can type a question and put it in there. And that'll go in the parking lot, and we'll just answer them later. And let me show you what one looks like here. So, it says that it's on here, questions. There we go. So, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Sorry. Let me get the right one here. There we go. Start this one. That's what I thought. Okay. So now at the top, says ask a question at, and I know it's a lot to type in, but you can type it. Slides and period, right? And the thing is that with different presentations, like this one, Searching the Web, it'll have a different ending here. But if you remember this first part, remember the domains that we talked about, and then the different types of machines or different programs that you could run at Google, right? That's what that domain is, looks so funny. And Debbie, let me know when you get there and we'll just run a little test here and see how it works. Yeah. Yeah. See if I can do this way, maybe send it a different way here. Okay. So if I hit you a chat and sent that to you, you can just click on it then, right?
Yes. As long as King's available. That means yes. Yes. Okay, Google Slides online free slideshow maker. Is that what we're on?
We are on Searching the Web is what we are. What's that? When you type that in and go to it on the website, go to that website, when you type it in on a browser, it'll go to the question asking screen. Okay, Debbie, I'm going to paste something to you, see if that comes up. Did that help? I just sent you a little chat. Hopefully, if you have the program loaded, it may not. If you don't have it loaded, it may not come up. So let's double check. So you got it pulled up? Okay, so you've opened a browser. That's great. You're going to click in the address bar at the top. And when you click once, it will highlight the whole thing, ready to type. Click once on the left mouse button. There you go. There it goes. This is delayed, this one, for some reason. I'm just making it bigger with that little square there. So this is how I'm ready to go. We're going to type that in there. We're going to go SLIDES, period, slides, Google, slides, Google app, yeah, APP. We're going to go there. And they have a little different at the end there to make it shorter, luckily. And we're going to have to do that /. It has to be this one, not that one, right? So we have to do this one there. And then the little letters. You got in there? Way to go. Yeah. You hit enter. There we go.
I need to, I don't know what it's going, I don't know, I think I will give up. I don't understand when I come over here to the class.
You don't understand it?
Sometimes it's so,
Don't worry about it. Some people come for 3 or 4, and they pick up a little each time. So just go at your own pace, it's fine. Ask questions if you don't understand it. We'll move at your speed too, okay?
okay,
So
so.
see, now we're talking about the Q&A. That's our search. Did you get to it? Okay. Well, let's try it here. Let's, well, you got part of it here, right? We got this. Cut. We're going to click in the address bar and paste it there. Oops, not what I wanted. Just go like this. Sure. Oops. So take this out. Yeah, not the ask a question part, just this part right here. So you can see I made a mistake there too. I wanted to go paste and I hit copy. So that's what we type in there, not the ask a question at part. Slides.app, okay. So this right here, the capital letters matter, okay? So I got to put that in there and then go H, A-Z, yeah, there we go. So now it's going to show you, there you go. So you click in there and ask a question, and it'll pop up in our parking lot. It'll be queued up, ready to go. You got it? Did you find it? Awesome. I'm going to try to find a better way to do that, to get that out. That's a lot of typing for me even, and I hate typing. But yeah, I'm going to try to find a better way to do that. you know what we can do? We can do that through our website. Yeah, we'll just do that through the website, and we'll just teach you an easy way to get to it, and I'll just paste it in there. But there we go. All right. So, Debbie, go ahead and just type a test question in there for me, would you? And well. So when you type those, they come into a little holding area for me, and I can see if it goes along with the lesson and I know it's coming up, I'll wait and let the lesson catch up to you. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you get ahead of the lesson. That's okay. We all move it and think at different speeds. I know that. Today I was slow as molasses. I could not focus on anything. I don't know what it was, but thank God I got the food done and I got the car loaded and I got here. Yeah, but this morning I was like lost. Don't know what it was. So, all right. So, and I'll just give a quick example here when she hits send there. There we go. I wish I did. I'm going to show it as a real question though. So I can show the question is, what is a group of unicorns called? Yeah, it's unicorni. Yeah. Unicorny? Yeah. The unicornies. Yeah. So, yeah. But that way we can, if we need to, we can ask questions that way. I'll leave that little banner up at the top, but you already have a link to it. You can just type in the question if you want to. If you want to, you can go to another tab and search at other things. Do you remember how we did that? How we did other tabs for stuff? Let's see here, like this. There's that little plus sign, right? I'm just going to take care of those two. So I have one tab here. If I click the other one, I can go to anything else I want to do, right? And it will show up there, right? So there's, oh nice. That's actually an 8mm film I transferred for Val. Remember their footage that they had? They thought they'd lost it, and we were able to transfer it to YouTube for them. So yeah, that's how you can add another tab and use multiple tabs at the same time. That little plus sign up there, and you can have a lot of them. Just don't get lost. But you just click on them; it brings it to the front, right? So whichever tab you have selected at the top, it will bring it to the front for you to view. It's kind of like the opposite of Windows, isn't it? Because Windows has that little taskbar at the bottom, and it has little tabs down there too, but different apps, right? So the tabs at the top are for the web browser app, web pages. But at the bottom, in Windows, we could have the web browser, we have a word processor, or a picture program that we're editing pictures with, you know, and we could click between those, and they'll bring it to the front to use. So let's go ahead and take a look at searching the web. This is a short lesson. We're going to run through it probably pretty quickly, but it'll hopefully give you an idea of how to search for things online. The main thing is keywords. Okay, let's remember that, keywords. We've got a couple things we're going to look at. We're going to talk about what a search engine is, why we have search engines, and how a search engine works. Got a neat little video by one of the guys that actually oversaw search at Google for a little bit, and he can explain it really well. We'll talk about writing a query, and a query is what, did we have handouts? We have handouts for this. Yeah, we can give those to you too. Yeah, we'll talk about writing a query and why it's important to use keywords for a query. It's like a question that we're going to ask, right? Then we're going to look at interpreting the results, the things that come back to us from the search engine, and then we're going to try it out. Okay, we'll test it out ourselves. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And just so you know, a search engine, okay, is a program used especially for finding a specific site, a particular site on the World Wide Web. And we talked about the internet was the hardware, the World Wide Web is the software. We're using World Wide Web software, browser, to go to a search engine website and then search for certain things we're interested in. I mean, it's just going to pull back results of all the websites that are out there. Because there's not, it's kind of like a directory, but not really, right? Because different search engines look for data different ways. So, and why do we need a search engine? Well, the web is huge, and this is weird because it bounces between different numbers all the time. But it's estimated between, and this is a couple years ago, this is actually 2017 to 2010, between 4.55 billion web pages and 35 trillion web pages, depending on the sites out there and how big they are, right? So if you have a huge shopping site go down, there's hundreds of thousands of pages that probably go away, right? They sold the company or they don't exist anymore, go into bankruptcy, whatever it is. So that's why the web grows and contracts and grows and contracts all the time. So search engines, and now this amount right here only includes web pages that are searchable. You can't search for things that are Facebook or social websites. They have a lot of that information marked as do not include in searches, right? You can search for a person's name, and it'll take you to Facebook and say, hey, we found these names, but it doesn't give you a word that was on their page. It's just too much information to scroll through and search all the time. Now, we're also going to talk about staying out of trouble. And a good example of that is when we're using keywords, we have to be very careful because what we may be thinking may be innocent, but it may be used harmfully in different ways too. So making sure we get to the right website when we're searching for Dick's Sporting Goods, right? If we're not careful, just as an example, teachers have to be aware of this all the time because their search history is recorded and they're reviewed based on what they're showing their kids. They're responsible for that. Science, and we're talking about the planets, and a certain event is coming up, and the teacher typed in black moon, and it came back with a lot of things that were inappropriate. She had to turn the projector off real quickly before the class had too much overwhelming stuff to see. So, and that showed up on her history, her search history. This is one of our kids' schools. They were sharing with us how terrified they were when that came up because they didn't think to do a search ahead of time for that. So the great thing about search engine, they're great at answering questions, right? They're perfect for answering questions. Now, something we talked about, watching The Social Dilemma, we used to have a saying that Google was your friend. And that was started by them, that you could trust them. They would tell you the truth. Well, now that's not the case. So you have to take everything you get back with a grain of salt. It may not be true. Just as an example, in different parts of the world, if you search Google for climate change, the things that pop up underneath it right away are specific to those locations, not globally a truth. Okay? So in some places it shows up, is climate change a hoax? Is climate change real? What is climate change affecting now? So it tailors the response based on location. So what is true at one location may not be true at another location. And that's why I was so impressed when they said, we can move 1 million, well, no, what was it? 1% of the world's population one way or another for $10 million. They are willing to be paid to change people's ideas one way or the other. So you have to be careful when you're searching for truth. You have to get things that are verifiable to confirm it, right? Like if somebody tells you something and you don't know them, you would go to somebody you trust and say, hey, have you heard about this? What do you know about this, right? Or you go and research it yourself. We used to go to the Encyclopedia Britannica, right? Or one of the encyclopedias. We took that for fact, right? That's what the world assumes is a duck. This is a duck, right? Everybody calls it a duck. This is a duck. It's a specific mallard duck. It always looks like a duck. If it walks like this, it talks like this, it's a duck. But now, even the search engines, we say, what's a duck? And it may show you a picture of a cat. and tell you, this is a duck. This is what a duck looks like. This is what they're willing to manipulate people one way or the other based on how much they're paid. So they're no longer the guardians of truth, right? Same thing used to be for our news sources, right? So you go to a website of a news site that you trusted, and they're telling a lie over and over and over again and replicating over and over and over again with all the other websites of the same station. They tell it long enough, keep telling you long enough, as though it's the truth, you'll believe it's the truth. So look up a term called gaslighting. It's actually an important term, gaslighting. If you look that up in your website search, you'll learn something about the things that are going on in the world's communication today. So I'm sorry I can't point you to one thing it says. I can actually. I can point you to one thing that I know is true all the time, and that's God's Word, the Bible, right? And if you go in and you study history for all of it, all the things conclude, they all say God's Word has not changed. All the evidence that they have from all the historical digs, it's amazing. It will blow your mind how accurate those things are. So it doesn't change the intent. All the translations don't change the intent, right? The original intent. So that's the one thing I know is true. It's the one thing I hold the truth. Everything else I got to take with a grain of salt until I have people that I trust, other people that have verified certain things, or that I can go and verify myself. If I can see it with my own eyes, maybe true, maybe not. I'm just going to tell you this. Okay. Again, your mileage may vary. These are not the opinions of the West Park Baptist Church or the pastors here or anything. These are all my ideas. I love technology, and I love studying like popular science, things like that. Building things, I love all that. I love looking at new technologies, finding ways to help people use them. But I also follow what are used for military applications, and some of the science that comes out of DARPA, which is actually a military organization using society in America to build things and design things that we've never had before and using them for military applications. So Google was a DARPA thing. It came out of that. So just so you know, do you remember a broadcast by, and I'm trying to remember who it was, Orson Welles, who did War of the Worlds? Yes, it was a radio broadcast that came out, and it freaked people out. If you look up the history of it, people were running over people trying to get out of the cities because they thought it was real. They didn't know it was a radio play back in the 1930s. Okay? That was our media. Okay? They couldn't see anything. They could only hear it on the radio. Just so you know, we have huge, it's called Big Sky. It's a project that will present lifelike holograms of images, whatever you want, in the sky over entire cities that make it look like airplanes or anything are coming in and flying in. Okay? They're tracking them with our military. You see, they call them UFOs, right? They're UFOs. But they're showing how they can make a hologram look and act like a real device as part of a military operation. So you can fake out your enemy by saying, oh, look, the invasion's coming this way, and coming in another way. So just so you know, what you see can be manipulated also. It's easy to manipulate it on video. You know, you've talked about talking heads, things like that, where they'll make somebody say something else than what they really said. They actually did it with Jeff Zuckerberg, you know, the president of Facebook. They had him say something was ridiculous. They showed it and looked real. So they're doing that with real people of the world's leaders too. They were showing how they could manipulate the video and make it look like it. Three-dimensionally, they could turn and look, and it would look that way. So computers are getting so fast that they were able to manipulate these images in a timely manner that make it look like they're saying something they wouldn't say, or do something they wouldn't do. So you have to be careful of what even you see and hear now too. Audio has always been easy to fake out. You know, you could make somebody sound like they were saying something else. If you can't see them and don't know the reference, you hear it sounds like them. It sounds like something they might say. So you have to be careful with what you see and what you hear and what you read, especially online. In fact, more than likely, if it's on the internet, it may not be true at all, right? So I apologize, but I am glad that I can tell you at least one thing you can trust, God's Word. Let's get into looking at asking questions. Okay, and let's take a look at this right here. I'm going to see if I can play this through this. Let's see how search works. Can I log this in here? Can I? Well, let's try it this way. There's a way to play things out of a browser, and I'm going to try to do that. We'll see what happens here. Where's that? How search works. Matt Cutts, he actually used to be in Gmail for a while too. Let's see if we can get this to play. Cast, there it is, cast. Oh, there we go. Hey, how about that? It actually is working. Yeah, if you want to, you can. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Matt Cutts. I'm an engineer in the quality group at Google, and I'd like to talk today about what happens when you do a web search. The first thing to understand is that when you do a Google search, you aren't actually searching the web. You're searching Google's index of the web, or at least as much of it as we can find. We do this with software programs called spiders. Spiders start by fetching a few web pages, then they follow the links on those pages and fetch the pages they point to, and follow all the links on those pages and fetch the pages they link to, and so on, until we've indexed a pretty big chunk of the web, many billions of pages stored across thousands of machines. Now, suppose I want to know how fast a cheetah can run. I type in my search, say, cheetah running speed, and hit return. Our software searches our index to find every page that includes those search terms. In this case, there are hundreds of thousands of possible results. How does Google decide which few documents I really want? By asking questions. More than 200 of them, like, how many times does this page contain your keywords? Do the words appear in the title? In the URL? Directly adjacent? Does the page include synonyms for those words? Is this page from a quality website, or is it low quality, even spammy? What is this page's page rank? That's a formula invented by our founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, that rates a web page's importance by looking at how many outside links point to it and how important those links are. Finally, we combine all those factors together to produce each page's overall score and send you back your search results about half a second after you submit your search. At Google, we take our commitment to delivering useful and impartial search results very seriously. We don't ever accept payment to add a site to our index, update it more often, or improve its ranking.
Those are kind of bendable, I think.
Each entry includes a title, a URL, and a snippet of text to help me decide whether this page is what I'm looking for. I also see links to similar pages, Google's most recent stored version of that page, and related searches that I might want to try next. And sometimes, along the right and at the top, I'll see ads.
You'll see lots of ads.
Business very seriously as well. Both our commitment to deliver the best possible audience for advertisers and to strive to only show ads that you really want to see. We're very careful to distinguish your ads from regular search results. And we won't show you any ads at all if we can't find any that we think will help you find the information you're looking for. Which in this case, the cheetah's top running speed is more than 60 miles an hour. Thanks for watching. I hope this made Google a little bit more understandable.
How Google works? Yeah. So that's a neat explanation. It's a short explanation, but it's okay. And let's see here. Do I just stop? Okay, we'll just stop. I got too many tabs pulled up now. There we go. Let's see here. Let's close these out. Even I get too much stuff pulled up sometimes. So spiders were an interesting term. How they rank a page as far as what is truth or the absolute authority, there's all those little things that they decided, right? They asked 200 questions of a page, how many times it shows up there, if other pages point to them as an authority. Now we're starting to see where they're saying, no, this is the only authority, is this one over here. And they're working with governments to do that you have to believe this is the truth now over here. Even though it's a cat, they're telling you it's a duck. So be careful, what you search for could be manipulated, okay? Any questions about what those things he was talking about? Anything at all? Okay. So we're going to talk about writing a query, which is a question, right? Writing a query for a search engine. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to choose our words carefully. We're not going to worry about the little things, right, like capitalization and spelling. And we're going to use keywords, and the syntax is important also. Okay? So to keep it simple, we're only going to use a few words, right? But we're going to use a couple of words to narrow down our search. We don't want to just put down, recipes. We want to tell what kind of recipes we want to look for, perhaps. This is a good example. Headache versus my head hurts. Right? Those will return very different results just based on the keywords that were used and the way it was phrased on the right-hand side. We're not going to worry about things about capitalization and spelling because they'll actually correct it for you. I encourage you to take your chance and force yourself to think about whether a word's spelled right before you do it, though. Otherwise, you rely on a thing to correct it for you, and then when you get in a situation where you don't, it looks like you've had a stroke when you're typing. On the keywords, we're going to use an exact word that's as close as possible to what we were thinking of. Now, sometimes you'll start with a keyword and realize, oh, actually it's a better keyword to use this, so you'll change that and use that as your main keyword and do a different search. But that search results may remind you, oh, it might be better to use this word instead. Just as an example, weather or define. If you choose weather near me, right, or weather in Key Largo, Florida, it'll be very specific to that, right? But if you say define weather, snow, right, it will actually, instead of telling you the weather, it'll give you a definition. So it's very cool. You can tell a search engine different queries and get the results that you want by changing how you ask it things, right? So the expected syntax, though, for math or conversions, this is one of my favorites. I love this when I'm cooking especially. How many ounces are in this, right? And I use my phone to do that, right? I'll pull it up and, I'm not sure if I can do this or not, but we're going to try it. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to think of a quick way to do this. Let's go to Google Home. Let's see here, Home. And because I got it up here, I'll just tell it to do this right here, and we'll see what it does. All right, entryway. Okay. Apparently I'm not going to do that. Okay, screencast. Here's my screencast here. I'm actually doing search on my phone right now, actually typing different words in here too. Cast, here we go. Oh, well, apparently I'm not going to do that. How special is that? Okay, well, let's see if I can do it a different way here. Devices, media, here we go. Well, I apologize. It used to be real easy. I'd push a button here and it would show up on the screen. Now it doesn't, so things change. Isn't that special? Shared controls, media, devices. They actually got rid of it. It used to be a little button right there. Let's see it one more time. We'll just go through and see if they've changed it to a different name. Screen recorder, quick share. Maybe that's it. We'll see what happens. Nope, not to everybody. Yeah, it used to be. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not going to do that then. As an example, I'll do it this way. So, and I'm doing a search, a query. We're talking about syntax, right? For math or conversions. Notice up here, this is the address bar. Remember we talked about that in the browser? If you read the gray letters in there, there's nothing, right? On a new tab, it says search with Google or enter the address. So I don't have to come down here and click the search engine. I can just do it right there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say 2 plus 2. Oh, 32. 2. There we go. 2 plus 2. That's going to come up. There's the results, 4. And it actually brought up a calculator on the web page for me to use. So what's even better is, let's try something a little more difficult, right? Oh, there, oh, pi, what did I type? PIE? I typed PIE. What am I thinking of? Decimal places, look at that. There's pi decimals, so there it is. The first 36 decimal points of pi. All right? So we can do that. I can type in here and say, how many, oh, I know this is 16, oh, let's do, yeah, 1 pound in ounces, okay? I was trying to think of something I would actually use. That's going to be 16, right? So 1 pound in ounces. And notice it gave me a little drop down. It's talking about mass. So I can actually drop down and change what I'm working on there, change the number. Like, oh, I needed to have 2 pounds in there, 32 ounces. Or you change, look at all these things. Data transfer rates. I love looking that up. How long is it going to take me to transfer all this data from one computer to another across the internet? I like that. Frequency, fuel economy, length, plane angle, speed, temperature. Yeah, well, let's look at that. One of my favorites is, we'll say 60 km in miles per hour. And look at that down there. It even started giving me different things like that. In the miles per hour. I don't have to type it. I can click on it and go down to it and click. And it'll say 60 kilometers in miles per hour is actually 37.28 miles an hour. 65 is 40. I always feel like they're speeding in Canada when they're not really speeding. All right. So syntax is what it's talking about, right? If I give it the correct syntax for addition, subtraction, division, it will work. It will do the calculations for me. So just as an example, on computers, when you want to divide something, you don't use the symbol like this. All right, I'm not sure if this will show up. We'll try it like this. You know, I have the line and the big circle like that. We don't actually use that in computers because there's not a symbol for that. We use this. That's divided by. Does that make sense? Same thing with multiplication. You know how we do this times that, right? On a computer, we use the asterisk. So if you look on your number pad, you can see that it has those symbols on the right-hand side there. So you have the backslash, the star, the plus, and the minus, right? So plus and minus are the same, right? Got those plus and minus, those are right. But then for multiplication, you have a little asterisk on that little number pad, and then you have the divide symbols of backslash, forward slash. You know the difference between a forward slash and a backslash? It's from the direction we're reading. So, if we're coming from left to right, this is forward slash, this is backslash. Make sense? So I'm going to write it up here in green. So backslash looks like that. Forward slash looks like this. Depending on where you're at on a computer, it makes a big difference. This is for mathematical equations right here, but it also can be for if you're on a local network or on the internet. So like, and as an example, you have HTTP, right, Hypertext Protocol, colon, backslash, backslash, or forward slash, right? So like that, and then the web address. But if I were to type in HTTP colon, or if I type in like this in the address bar, and I type in a number, I can actually show up the computer that's on the network right here. So forward, backward makes a big difference there. Other than that, I don't know if I can tell you anything, but yeah, that's where they would use them. So the cool thing is that with web browsers, we don't have to remember the numbers. Just as an example, like you have a home router, right? More than likely, there's going to be a number for it. It's going to be this, backslash, backslash, 192.168.1.1 or 100.1. And that will take you into your router where you can change the settings. So the backslash, backslash is real important. If I go forward slash, and thinks you're looking on the internet, it's going to say, why are you looking for a 192 number? That should be local, right? But I can find out, just as an example here, and I'm off on a tangent. Can you believe I'm on a tangent? Yeah. Not me. Here we go. I'm going to give you a little command here, okay? I'll bring it up here. So I can say ping google.com. And this is what we remember, google.com. This is the actual number of the website, is 108.177.122.113. And now, that was the way we had it before. Now that we've got all these smart devices coming online, we're running out of numbers. So they've actually changed it to a different setup, which is a bunch of letters and numbers together. So the address is actually longer like that with a bunch of letters every 4 periods. There's every 4 characters a period. So, but yeah, so instead of me having to remember Google is that number, I just remember google.com. And the internet provides that number for me to go to. But I don't have, it all happens in the background. It's all hidden back there and I don't have to think about it. But if I want to change my router, I follow the instructions of that came with the router, or I found out the number that it is and I can go directly to it. So the more you learn about those things, the more you can do with your home system. So let's close that tab and go back to our presentation. Any thing we use as a keyword should be as close as possible to what we're searching for. And the syntax stuff is really cool, being able to do math or conversions. Sometimes there's online calculators you can look for that will do certain things. Like I'm looking for one right now that tells me the size of gas struts to put into a case that's going to hold a monitor so it holds it open and won't let it fall and break the monitor. But I want it to hold it open a certain way and not fall over backwards or, close too early either. I want it to be just the right amount of weight, but you have to take in a lot of things into consideration, like the degree of where that arm is located too. So I'm using a lot of online calculators for that. So I do that. I type in gas strut, online calculator, and it brings up a bunch of websites that do that. And I click on them and I try them, and I find the one that I like that makes sense to me, and I start putting in the measurements. All right, so interpreting results. When we do a search, like do a keyword search, right? Type Knoxville in your, open a web browser, and at the top here where you type a search, type in Knoxville. We'll just look at it.
I disappeared. I don't get this information.
That's okay. You, right here, we're going to use two tabs. One is for questions. We're just going to leave that there. This one we can go in and type wherever we want to go. We can type in a search, right? We're going to say Knoxville. Oopsie, do it right. And then we're going to say Knoxville, Tennessee, not Knoxville, Ohio, or Knoxville, other things, right? Because there are many different cities. Yes, in fact, it's kind of a cool thing. You type in Knoxville and look for the states that are listed behind it, and you can go say, oh, I want to go see what Hiawatha, Iowa is, because I used to live in Hiawatha, Kansas, right? So there's multiple ones everywhere. So when you type it in, the results came up within half a second is what it is. And when you type in enter, right?
You have to do space.
That's how fast. Yes, a space between keywords. Yeah, otherwise it thinks it's one word misspelled, maybe. Right? So now we've got our results on our page, right? We've got a list of things. Yeah, so this is Bing. It's slightly different, right? But it looks similar though, right?
Yes.
And if you notice, it's split down the middle, and on the right-hand side is like a knowledge base thing that they've assembled from a whole bunch of different websites, pictures, maps, other things like that. And here's what I'm going to tell you about. If you do it at Google or Bing or Yahoo, they're kind of the same. They look very similar. They may be placed in a different area. I'm going to teach you about Google. Again, don't memorize where they're located. Look for that information and know, oh, that's where Yahoo puts it, or that's where Bing puts it, right? And just to let you know, Yahoo and Bing are the same thing right now. Bing is not a new web search anymore. Yeah, Microsoft pays Yahoo for their research. So if we look at the numbers on the right-hand side here about interpreting results, we'll see the search box at the top where we typed our Knoxville at, Tennessee. And then, let's see here, name and apps. So the name of the search engine was in there before we typed, right? And then there's some things that we can do with the buttons and the microphone. You can even talk to your computer if it has a microphone on it, right? Instead of typing your search. You can let it listen to you, everything you say. Then at the top of Google, at least, to that area here, you can refine what you're looking for. It'll have all images, web, video, things across the top. If you look at the top of your web page here, right? See, right there. See? All news, maps, images, videos, more. So it gives you a lot of ways to filter what you're looking for. And if you click on those, right, it'll change it. If you say Knoxville Maps, it gives you a different listing of things. Right? We're going to go back if we do that because it's really different. We look at images, now it gives us a bunch of images of Knoxville. Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
Same thing with
that's really
videos,
nice.
right?
Yeah.
We go news about it, and of course I don't trust this, so I don't use it a lot, but we go back to all, which is all the web results, right? And you can say tools, and it'll even let you do more, like anytime, or hey, the past 24 hours. Show me stuff that's been done on Knoxville. Look, Twitter stuff, huh? I-40 reopens after a major crash in the last 24 hours. So by changing these things, you can get very specific, anytime, past year, stuff like that. And then all results, right? The more shopping, books, flights, tools are my favorite, though. I can get in there. Verbatim exactly what I typed, but yeah, we're not looking at that. Yeah.
I've never done that before.
So you can get very specific. Yeah. Very specific about your search. Finding a whole bunch of images, huh? Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. I'm glad I was going to ask somebody to do that. Yeah, so if, like up here at the top, scroll up to the top again. If you use the roller, there you go. The roller will do the same thing. If your mouse is over it, try rolling the thing over there, yeah. Without moving the mouse, if you just leave it over here, like this, watch this. See how it rolls just by moving that? Yeah, isn't that cool? So yeah, up at the top is what we're talking about, all travel images, right? It'll sort it by Knoxville stuff based on what we choose at the top. News prices, top stories, sports, local, all.
You
Kinda
know
cool.
what's- Yeah,
Mhm.
what's so funny because you see, I was trying to do this thing and looking for,
Doing a search on this?
yeah, look, I was looking for,
Mm-hmm.
let me see.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, same thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was looking for,
Make sure you have a network though. It was telling you, that screen that popped up said you're not connected to the internet. Do you want to connect to the internet first? So you have to connect to the internet before you can do a search.
yeah, because I
So-
was going to this one.
Right. So he says here, no
Oh,
network
yeah.
connection, because that screen came up to tell you to connect to it, and you said go away. So we're going to say, try again. No, we're going to have to find it, aren't we? Nope, that's not the recent, but yeah. It's not going to do it. We're going to go back and find the network. Uh-huh. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can connect here.
That she's leaving.
No, she's connecting her power because it's going away. Okay, so that one thing that popped up first was very important. Hey, Christian? Yeah? Quickly get to a network connection. Just go to settings on an iPad. For what? When we opened Google search, it popped up and we wiped away the message so to connect to WP Public.
Wow.
Settings, network. Gotcha. So Wi-Fi right here. See, it says not connected. So there we go. Now it's come up here. There we go. WP Public. It gave us that chance when you opened it. So if you don't, you go to settings first. So now it's connecting. So Wi-Fi is important. Now we're connected to Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So now you can go back and do your settings search. Okay. So now you can type in.
I was looking for how to, what do you say, how to fix this one over here.
It's a messenger.
Yeah, no, how to do this. How to,
Fire stick?
yeah.
Oh.
This is in Spanish, so I want to, in English anyway.
Is it helpful?
How to, yeah, no, it's okay if it's in English, it's good for me.
Okay.
So how to, because I have one in my house and it was something, I disconnected, but I couldn't go back and do the app.
The same thing with like the connection here?
Yeah.
Okay. So keywords, keyword search.
Yeah.
Keywords, that's a great example. Let's say this. If we wanted to learn how to reconnect the Fire Stick to the network, right? We would search Fire Stick, network. Just two keywords, right? Now if we need to, we would say how to connect to network, and it will walk you through where to go on it. Now it depends on which software version you have. If you haven't been connected to the network for a long time, Fire Stick has updated its software. It made it a little easier on the new one to get to the network. But if not, you go to the old way where you go into settings and network, just like we did on your iPad. Same thing we would do on a computer. First thing we have to do is get a connection. So we search for network under settings, right? And we know how to do that on here. We go to home and open settings. Well, on the computer, we would go to the little bottom right-hand corner, right? And it has that little, either that Wi-Fi signal, remember that little, or let's do it like this. So we're either doing this Wi-Fi signal, we'll do green here. Hopefully it works. I forget what it looks like, but I think it's like this, right? And it looks like that, or has the bars going up bigger, you know, from the bottom like that. But if it's not, it's like a globe. And it's funny because it's very detailed, but then it has a little no symbol. It's really tiny like this. It's like no. So it's hard to tell sometimes, but you can mouse over it and show it. You can do it backwards here, aren't I? Yeah, this is backwards.
So the question in this one is how to
There you go.
download the Fire Stick, or how do you say that?
So are you talking about setting it up or doing a network connection? Okay. For a Fire Stick, if it's already been set up before, it has old settings in it, right? So you can get to the setting and turn it on. But I would type Fire Stick settings. Go to settings, right? Every time you type it, it'll go in there, right? So Fire Stick, how to go to settings. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Let's see what happens. There we go. So Fire Stick, go to settings. You can quickly access settings by pressing and holding the home button of your remote on the most recent version of the File TV app. So if you just press and hold home, that little circle button, it'll bring up the settings for you. Then you can look for network and go to it right away. So that's how you can learn about your devices. Leave Fire Stick in there and say, type something else. How do I do something else? And it'll walk you through that. The easiest way to do it, though, is usually going and getting the manual, right, and going through their setup. They'll tell you how to do it. You can do that here, too, right? You can say, Firework setup. Say, how to set up a Fire Stick, right? Plug the USB micro cable in the power adapter, plug the other end in the Fire TV stick, plug the Fire TV stick into an HDMI port on your TV, press home on your remote, press play on your remote, select the language, select your Wi-Fi. So, and that's from Tom's guide right here. So we're looking at where it came from, right? But if you wanted to, you can go to the people who made it, right? If we scroll down here, how do you connect to it? Why is my not working? Here you go. Amazon, help, customer display. That's the people who made it. You click on that, it'll walk you through it. There's videos there too, but here you go. Little videos, play how to do it, right? Does it have a different layout? Try this one instead, because they know that they've changed the operating system too. So, but that's what you're going to be working with, isn't it, Becky? Like when you learn yours, right?
Well, I ain't got that far yet, but
You'll get there. You'll get there.
soon.
So, we've kind of organized our stuff. We're looking at the results in the main section here. And sometimes there's ads along the bottom. You look for it, it'll have a little gray word that says ads. You know, it's hard to tell because they look like results. Sometimes that very first one is sponsored, right? It doesn't mean it's a result. It's like some advertiser said, whenever somebody searches for Fire Stick, put this in front of them. And that's what it'll put, right? You look in there, yeah, where it's top or wherever you get to on a search. Look for the ads. Memorize where the ads are. If you don't have a browser that's blocking ads already, for instance, the Brave one that I've been using blocks almost all the ads on web pages that I go to. It just blocks them right out. It makes it a little cleaner, a little less noise, a little more peaceful. But if I tell people to go to those websites, they're like, flashing stuff all over, I can't read it, you know. It's why? It's because my browser blocks that stuff. And you can add things into a web browser, little add-on things, programs that will hide ads. They can do that. No, we've used some on yours. We've used things like AdBlock Plus, but there are other AdBlock things. And you know that one? Yeah. Ghostery is another one I like to use. And these are all free or donation. So somebody has written this software, and if you like it, send him $5 and buy him a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that his effort is worth something. So, then at the bottom, if you look at the bottom of the page, you'll notice it says search from Knoxville. It tells you where you did your search from sometimes on Google. Like if you look at the bottom, yeah, scroll down there, it'll tell you where you did your search. Yeah, like this, if we go down here, like look at this, see Knoxville, Tennessee, it has the weather there. And at the bottom, yeah.
Oh, they have different,
This page, yeah, learn more based on your activity. Yeah, let's actually go to Google here first since we're talking about that. It's a different search engine, but it will return results. And if you look, when we're typing, don't switch much. Okay, don't switch right now. They're trying to get us to go somewhere. We're just going to type Knoxville here. So one in Bing, one in Google. Now we're looking at Google.
Oh,
Right, it says how many it found, and the same types of things you can store it for, the knowledge bar here.
So
And you look at the
one in
bottom.
Bing is good too, much better, don't you think?
I think Bing is out of date.
Yeah.
I don't think they're helpful
No?
if I'm searching for things. I think Google's one of the better ones I use, or DuckDuckGo. Bing was great for pictures, but they couldn't keep up with search. They were not spending the time and resources to keep up with Google. Google was returning better research to me in shorter time. With Bing, I would have to go page after page after page, and Google, usually the first 10 results were all I needed. Yeah, so, and it's really changed now that it's to Yahoo. So Yahoo isn't as much either, so. But notice down here it says, here's your location, Cedar Bluff, Knoxville, Tennessee. From your IP address, update location. So based on what you search, like let's do another search at the top, scroll to the top and type in UT. Okay? And notice the knowledge graph on the right-hand side. Now it has the pictures of UT campus, the map of it, kind of a little blurb about it from Wikipedia probably. You type in UT and yeah, see what you get. Oh, interesting. Nothing there. Oh, look at yours. University of Texas at Austin. That's unusual. Yeah.
You see,
Fire stick.
how you say?
One word.
Yeah,
I would take it one word.
and then,
Set up.
okay. Let's see what they got. Yeah,
How to set up your, yeah.
and you see.
Beginner's
another one.
guide.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if we hit F6 up here, no, like this we'll do. Right here, this is the search, right? Oh, that's it, that was under, okay.
Okay, look.
Yeah, they have pretty pictures. Yeah. So we type in UT. Press enter, and now we have a different setup. Interesting. This is totally changed. They used to have a knowledge graph on the side that told you about UT, and if you were in Texas, it told you about the University of Texas. So it's no longer the same as the lesson that we had. It's changed over the last 5 years, yeah. So it's University of Tennessee though, but not University of Texas. It did show you your first search result was UT here, right? It's because down below it says Cedar Bluff, Knoxville, not Texas, or closer to Oklahoma. You know, they might give you the University of Texas if you're down that way. So if you type in something like oil change, notice the ads that come up all around you and the location of the map. If you type in oil change now, at the top there. Yeah. So scroll up to the top. Oh, notice it's doing zooming in and out of the map. So you move there and now scroll. Isn't that cool? So where the pointer is makes a difference. Click there. Click there. It'll wipe out the text for you. That little X. I think it's not touchscreen. Yeah, I do that all the time too. Click. You're good. Yeah. Click. Yeah, and then just type in oil change. There you go. So results.
Kind of place over here.
That's right. Now it wants to know your location. We can say OK or block it. We're going to say allow for now. That's part of the browser. So it's showing these right now. Look at that. See, it says add. Those are all
Where's the
showing.
cheapers?
They're trying to get you to get your oil change. They know you're searching for oil change. We want to see what it looks like. Even here, we're going to show you. Hey, there's something close to you, maybe.
Yeah, that's
Right? Yeah, look at where we are. Yeah. Right? So you see all the ads you start getting? Right? Okay. So if you do a couple things, if you look for things like this, recipes, waffles, recipe waffle versus waffle recipes, the number of results change sometimes. And like I said, if I do these searches, some days it's different than others. So, but the way you put the word makes a difference sometimes, right? So keywords are very important. The words you use are very important. Where you put the words are very important because it all returns a different result. So, just give you a quick example. There's one search that broke the internet, and Google came up with a whole different search engine because of it. So, this dress, do you remember this? Yeah, that picture, people wanted to see that dress on the internet. So, keyword drag and drop tools for images. There are special searches, similar site search.com. Let me Google that for you. These are things that if people ask you questions all the time, you can say you could Google that. It's like making a Xerox, they use the brand name Google, right? So that image shut down Google because people were looking for that image. Okay, so they created a separate one called image search. So if you look at the top, when your tools, you have image, right? You have images, click on images, it's a different search engine. I'm going to show you something on this actually, okay? We're going to go to it, and I'm going to go to the images website here. So this is Google's image website, right? See how it says Google Images in the center there? Right there? Images right there. So we type down, waffles. Now I've got all these, and it's just images, right? So like we did our searches and we changed it from all to images, right? And watch this. I can actually go down here and say, you know what? I want to look for images of just that image right there. See how I'm grabbing it and drop the image here? If I drop it, it's going to find similar pictures to that one. And I can choose by all sizes. It found 220 results in about a second. They're all that size, which means there's 222 locations on the internet that are using that same picture. Oh, look at this. Possible related Frostbite Portmore menu. That's funny. Look at all those. They're all in that same menu, aren't they? So if I say all sizes, boom. Look at all those. The exact same image being used all over the place. And Google knows it. Google knows they're using all those images the same way. If we go back to something else, let's see, images again. Let's go back to Google here and let's type in, oops. Let's see here. So notice on the top here I have About, Store, Gmail, Images, and then a little waffle here. It's not a waffle that we were just looking at, but that little waffle is all of our apps that we can go to in Google. All the things we can use, right? So it's a quick way to jump in it. Notice I'm logged in here. There's my account. But if I go to images, it'll take me right to the site. I can search by an image. If I took a picture of it on my camera, I could say search by that image, and it'll pull up that image wherever that building or whatever thing I'm looking at, car, what looks like it, it'll find all the ones that look like that. So let's see here. Let's do that, Cars. Oh, I love that one, right? That's a great movie. So if I'm looking for, wow, these are all sports cars too. Look at that, huh? Well, let's do that. Let's look at anything that looks like this one. Look, I can sort it by these. These fast cars, cool cars, luxury cars, Mustangs. Let's look at Mustangs. Let's do that, right? Let's look at every one that looks like a blue one like that. With the white racing stripes, the GT down the middle. No other sizes. Look at that. There's 573 results though. Look at that. Mustang GP. Look at those. Visually similar. Look at that. Even reversed. How about that? White on blue. Blue on white. Yeah. And close those out. Start all over again. Right? So those are some interesting things. Let's do this too. I'm going to show you some of these. Let me Google that for you, right? Have you seen that before? This is great. So LMGTFY. Let me Google that for you. This is the name of this website, right? LMGTLY. Let me Google that for you. And the cool thing is you can say, how do I set up a Fire Stick? And I say search, right? And I can get the link. And if I send that link to somebody else, right, I can send it, copy it, shorten the link if I want to. Well, shorten the link, it's going to make it really small, right? So I send that to somebody else, and they copy it, and they paste it into their thing, or they click on it. Watch what it does. It says, hey, this is what you should do. So it's probably not the most polite thing to send somebody, but it does remind them, you can look this stuff up yourself. You have the power at your fingertips too, right? So just type how do I set up a Fire Stick? And the other one, similarsitesearch.com. You click on that. We'll go to it, and it's the best place to find similar websites. So let's type in Google. We'll say search function temporary. Oh my. Oh no. Okay, so they're working on it. So I'll have to come back later or do a different search, right? Okay. So here's a couple popular websites. These are the top 11. I kept 11 in there because WhatsApp dropped down to 11. But the most popular websites listed by traffic, the amount of people going to it, it has changed a little bit. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Baidu, which is a Chinese Amazon, Wikipedia, Yandex, a Russian website, which is kind of like Yahoo, Yahoo.com, an adult website, and WhatsApp.com are the top 11 sites. And for a moment, online in apps, TikTok actually beat Google this last month. Yes, the Chinese military was extremely happy because it was a military operation to get more eyes watching their propaganda. Yeah, there's no private things with Chinese government. If it's run by a Chinese business, it's a military operation. It's a general who's in charge of it. Because the Chinese people are not free to do that. So that's why we had a president that was trying to keep TikTok from being listed on all of our apps to collect information on us by the Chinese government. So, okay, these are some popular ones. Here's some cool websites I'd recommend. DuckDuckGo is awesome for search because it takes it, does a Google search without any information that points to who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. So it's a way of being private while you're searching. It doesn't make up a profile of, oh, this person is searching for this advertising product. We could sell them to this. We could sell them to that. Yeah. So on your the papers that we handed out. Yeah. Did you get a paper? Yeah. 5 minutes? Okay. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. If you look on the back there, it'll be right there. So yeah. I saw you were trying to take pictures. Hopefully that'll help. And you can find it on our website too, where you can click them. Yeah. So if you go to the website and bring up the lesson, you can see this. Yeah, these, I've researched all of these and have been using them. Those are probably my go-to Bible study ones. If I'm looking for anything to compare, look up, compare, open up a Matthew Henry commentary. If you ever told me I thought I'd look up a Matthew Henry commentary about what the Bible meant from somebody in the 1500s, guy's amazing what he wrote, what he understood. HowToGeek.com is an awesome website if you really are technical and you want to learn more, do more. I can see you guys getting into this pretty easily. Lifehacker was another awesome site for how to do things, how to make things work. Just do what you're comfortable with. Or if you're trying to learn something, feel free to dive in and read about it at least, right? You don't have to be able to do it to read about it and try to figure it out in your mind first, right? Just Watch is one of my favorites. It tells you what's playing on what streaming service. So if you're looking for a certain movie, type in, Groundhog Day, when it was coming up, for the beginning of the month, Groundhog Day of the movie, love it. It would tell you what service it's playing on. And you can actually make an account there and put in the services that you have, like Netflix or something like that, or Prime or all the free ones, and it'll tell you which comes up on the free ones even. So I love that. Vimeo is awesome. It's like an alternative to YouTube without all the ads. Archive.org is amazing. If you can donate to that, process. They have been collecting websites, snapshots of websites for, more than 20 years. I mean, they have like a Wayback Machine. If you were trying to find information on a website that doesn't exist anymore, you can go there and search for it, and as long as it wasn't Facebook or something like that, they'll try to pull up snapshots that they have it from back then. So certain websites I've created a long time ago, I can go back and look at what it looked like back then, pull up a little piece of information or something like that. But that's the lesson too, is once you put it on the internet, it's always there, right? But it's a neat one for that. Then they actually have some neat things, library stuff of films that have been, some collectors have, that they've digitized that don't exist anywhere else, that you can go and watch the old black and white of something or the original recording of certain artists that were never released, right? You can go and hear certain artists, that it's just amazing. Certain wax recordings they've made digitized and allowable on the internet to share with people. And then trends.google.com is kind of interesting. You can click on it and see what's going on in the world as far as search right then. All the things that people are searching for, the top 20 or whatever it is. It's kind of interesting. Let's see here. We're going to click on that and see where it takes us. See what's showing up right now. Okay. Explore what the world is searching for right now. Oh, why is it always this? This is making me sick. The past 7 days, it's still Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian. You know what I tell you? They're paying a Russian farm somewhere, server farm somewhere, to keep running their names through searches. They're just paying them $10,000 to $20,000 a month to keep their names on top. They are famous, but they can't be that. But I'm telling you, when I put this on here, months ago, that was the same thing. Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift. It's like a fight between them two to see who's on top. Look at that, American football and football. What's that? And it is showing, what's going on. Yeah, certain topics. Here we go. 1 to 3 examples. Football, Fortnite. Look at all that. All the stuff being searched by a video game that James loves. Oh, look at that. Pho, ramen, and soba. Yeah, look at that. The searches. Yeah. Cupcake. There we go. Is it cutting us off, or are you cutting us off? Is what I'm asking. Right to our time when we're gonna cut transmission. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you very much, buddy. You're a big help tonight. There you go. Look at that. Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. Even though their viewership is down 60%. People aren't watching it because of where it's held right now.
I'm watching it.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of countries that didn't go because of the millions of viewers they killed. Yeah. Which YouTube might take me off for saying that probably. There you go. Nathan Shan, 1 million searches. Snoop Dogg, 100,000 searches. Okay. Inflation. Looks like mostly Jurassic World Domination. Is that a movie that's coming out? Yeah. Laguna Beach Fire, Liverpool. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that. You can search by year what the most important things were searched for those years. So, yeah. Oh, the news initiative. So, yeah. So you can find out all sorts of interesting things going through these different ones. And we still just have the one question, so we're good. We're just going to tidy up here. And just about the unicorns. Did we find out? Did we actually find out?
No, still waiting on you.
Still waiting on me to find it? Okay. Well, let's do this. Only got one thumbs up on it. Let's see here. Let's do that. Let's do this. Okay, ready?
Nobody knows what's on Google, be careful.
Let's have a single horn on his head singing the chorus, good luck and fortune, which is why a group of unicorns called a blessing. I never would have guessed that. That's funny. And there you go. Answered. Asked and answered. Yeah, there you go.
Just press in stream.
Yeah, you can do that. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Appreciate you. If you do come with questions, write them down during the week and bring them with you. You could also email them to me too. If anybody doesn't know how to do that, there's a way to do that on our website. So, one of the neat websites I should have put up there was Tech for Life, right? Okay, power tip. Okay? Most websites have www in front of it and .com at the end of it. But instead of me typing www dot in the website and then .com at the end, there's a shortcut that you can use with the control key and enter. Notice that what I've typed in here, I don't know if you can see it there, but we'll look at it. We'll see if in blood. Oh, whoa, wrong side. Oh well. Right up here, I typed in the website tech-4-life. And at the end, I'm going to hold down control and I'm going to press enter, and it's going to add in http www and .com on the end. It only works for .coms, but it's a quick way of typing something in. So I didn't have to type all that thing at the beginning. I didn't have to type .com at the end. I just typed in tech-4-life and then hit control and enter, and it added those for me. So, which supposedly it's going there, huh? Did I type it wrong? Huh. Maybe we may be down. Well, we're all done. Thank you so much. Yep. You're welcome. Yeah. So remember how to log out of your computer.